Hi kids, we're back. Yes, I know, I'm having a nice relaxing bath today. That last chapter we read in Sarny got me thinking, wouldn't a nice relaxing bath be so much fun? So that's what we're doing today, and I got my book and I got my spectacles and I got my shower cap on, and we're going to do some reading today if you don't mind. No, I know you look a little concerned, and I understand. But you don't have to worry, because this is a waterproof watch, so we're good, okay? So you don't have to worry. So let me let's check back, because I think my batteries died the last time we were talking, and Sarny was in the bath in Miss Laura's house, and she was talking about how nice that bath was, and she had soft hot water, soft smell of flowers still on me, soft silk of the gown next to my skin, and soft feeling of the fine sheets on the bed, and there wasn't anything for it but to sleep. So I did. And when I woke up, it was a whole new day. And I think I asked you kids last time, why bathtub? Why would Gary Paulson put Sarny in water? And I think I also referenced to you the fact that when we read Night John, or I guess we saw the movie Night John, there was a scene in the movie when Sarny first learned how to read, and all the tears, the water coming down her face, and she was in church, and the minister saw her and came over to her, and we were all scared. We thought he could figure out that she knew how to read, but that wasn't it. He thought that she had found God because of his wonderful ministering, right? That was what he thought. And I guess in a way maybe Sarny did find God, because it was in that moment, that indescribable moment, when these letters that our parents taught us become words, and we learn how to read. And unfortunately, we're so young when it happens, I'm not so sure that we can appreciate fully what that moment means in our lives. But Sarny did. And she started to cry. And the next thing we knew, the minister took her to the lake. And he said, "We're going to have us a baptizing." And Sarny was baptized. Could there be a connection between our conversation about baptism that we had, what it symbolizes, I guess, not the religious part of it, but what it symbolizes, of course, is very important to the narrative. So now Sarny is starting a life all new. She's in a beautiful mansion. She has an incredible century in Miss Laura. She has a family now with Bartlett and Lucy and little Tyler too, while she's searching for her own 2 kids. And she gets into this tub, and her whole life just sort of, I don't know, it just sort of sinks away in this one ecstatic moment of joy and bliss and peace. Well, if you thought that Gary Paulson is right back to that symbol that we saw in Night John, you'd be correct. This is a sort of baptizing in a way, in the sense that it's a rebirth for Sarny. She's starting her whole life new, and I think I pointed out to you in the last chapter that the new part of the book is going to be called New Orleans, right? Do you see that? That's the second half of Sarny and her life and her memoir and her story. And that's where we're going to pick up in just a sec. I've got to get out of this bathtub. I think my toes are getting a little pruny in here. All right, so I'll be back with you in a little bit, kids. All right, stay clean, stay healthy, good hygiene, okay? Always good hygiene. Catch you in a bit. Okay, kids, I'm back. Toweled off, put on a new shirt and tie. The other ones were a little bit damp. And I thought today, we'll read chapter 12 together, and I thought, I really miss being in the classroom and being at school, so it's such a beautiful day outside, sun shining. Maybe we can go over to my mother's elementary school, the school where she used to, not that she owns an elementary school, but this is the school where she used to teach, Atkinson Elementary School. It's not like being back in my own classroom, but he'll have to do for today, and we can read the rest of chapter 12 together, okay? So before we go, I just want to say goodbye to Jimmy because he gets lonely when I'm gone. So Jimmy, I hope you're going to be okay without me. Anything you want to say to the children before we go? Huh? Anything you want to say to them? Go ahead. Hey kids, we're back. Just give you a sense of where we are. This is, I didn't want to go onto school property or anything, but just sitting on the lawn, enjoying a nice sunny day. As you can see, it's a beautiful school behind me. And we're going to pick up in our reading of Sarny on chapter 12. It might help if I could see a little bit. That would work. There we go. Much better. Yes. Person who invented glasses. He or she was really onto something clever, wasn't it? All right. Anyway, that first night, Miss Laura, she waited on us, and that was fine. But she'd hired us to do a job of work, and when we got up the very next morning, we had to get busy. Miss Laura, she seemed to know everything, know everybody, and she sat us down and told us our duties. Sarny, you will market and cook and help me socially. Lucy, you will clean and take care of the laundry and straighten the place up after any social event. As I said, you will be paid $20 a month each, plus room and board. Any questions? I didn't much know how to cook except for quarters food, cornmeal, beans, and pork fat, and I was pretty certain she wasn't talking about that kind of cooking. Didn't know what she meant by marketing, and had no thought at all in my mind how I was to help her socially. Started to keep quiet and knew it would do no good. I don't understand how to cook, market, or be social. She laughed. Oh, Bartlett will show you at first. Don't worry, you'll pick it up fast. And Lucy, Bartlett will show you what to do as well. What do we wear? It was still early, and Lucy, she had sleep in her eyes. We can't do much in these gowns. You will wear uniforms. Bartlett will show you where they are. After that, any problem I had, I just figured to ask Bartlett. He seemed to know everything. I'll need coffee and a light breakfast, 1 egg, 2 pieces of toast with strawberry jam. Well, Lucy said, I guess we get to work. So we did. And that first day, it went about as bad as it could go. We put on our uniforms, black dresses, way better than the shifts. Bartlett, he showed me how to make breakfast, but it took me 3 tries to get an egg right. And just figuring out the kitchen and the stove that burned some kind of a gas would have been more than I could handle hadn't it been for Bartlett. Strong and quiet, never said a bad word or made fun of me. Would just smile and say, no, Sarny, turn that knob over there. Turn the gas down a mite. Don't boil the eggs quite so hard. Miss Laura, she likes them soft on the inside and just turning hard on the white. I ain't ever gonna get this. Yes, you will, don't worry. It'll all come easy to you. Just keep on keeping on, and it will be fine. So Bartlett, we can see, is really such a wonderfully encouraging and supportive character. And, you know, this is very difficult and new for Sarny. And she needs somebody who can support her. And that's the role that Bartlett is playing. And this wonderful sentence, just keep on keeping on. I think we can all relate to that, can't we, kids? I mean, in a way, if you think about it, that's what we're doing here. Still getting our reading in and enjoying a beautiful day and, you know, each other's company. So, yeah, we'll keep on keeping on. Then he'd go help Lucy find a broom or a mop, and all the time, Tyler, too, he was hanging on Bartlett's leg. He hadn't started to talk yet, but he was about as wild as a pup, running back and forth, and he decided that he belonged to Bartlett. Bartlett, he was like a gentle bear. Wow, so it's a great sentence. Bartlett, he was like a gentle bear. So we have 2 forms of figurative language. I think one's pretty easy to find. I think it's one we've already discussed. Did you spot it? Like a gentle bear. Yep. Yeah, I see. I can see the light. I can see the wheels spinning. It's a simile, right? But gentle bear. Now that's not one we've spoken a lot about. We did discuss it, but I'm glad we have this opportunity to reinforce it now. Gentle is kind of one extreme, and a bear is a very... What happens when we have a comparison very dissimilar terms, opposite terms, used for dramatic effect. What do we call that? Yes, 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 I can see. Yeah, you got it. That's an oxymoron right there. So, whether Sarny realizes it or not, she's so wonderful with all of these figurative elements in the way that she writes to us. He'd pick the boy up and carry him with one hand while he showed us what to do, then set him down until Tyler, too, he would run back and climb right back up his leg. When I had the breakfast just right, Bartlett, he put it all on a silver tray and told me to take it up to Miss Laura. I knocked on the door and went in and stopped again, mouth open, just like Lucy. Big room, high ceiling with a big bed in the middle. Bed had a roof on it. 4 posts held the roof over the bed, and soft cloth hanging down all around, everything in gentle red, so the room, it looked almost hot. In one corner was a table like the one in our room, and she was sitting there, writing on small pieces of paper. She pushed the paper aside. Oh, put the tray down right there. I was just writing invitations for the party I told you about, the one we're going to invite Chivington to. Did you sleep well? I was so busy looking at the bed, I didn't hear what she said. I'm sorry, what did you say? Did you sleep well? Oh, yes, slept like a baby. I felt like I was sinking into the bed all night, and Lucy, she slept so hard I thought she died. Soft laugh. I'm glad you like it. I think I've needed someone like you for a long time. Wow, what does that mean? I think I've needed someone like you. Well, I mean, I guess our first thought might be, I've needed a friend, right? And that's true. I mean, we all need our friends. It's very important in our lives, but I think it means something else. You know, when Miss Laura said to Lucy, when they were in the carriage house, be that as it may, we all have our own quarters, I think she was referring to the fact that she's a very lonely woman. She's lonely inside the depths of all of the secrets that she's keeping. Remember, if her secrets get out, she could have been a slave. She could have had a life that was as hard as Sarny and Lucy and Bartlett had. So for her, living life is it's very challenging to maintain all of those secrets. And there's one friend that she has now that knows, and that's Sarny. And that takes her relationship with Sarny to a completely new level, a new wonderful level. And I think that's what she's alluding to here. So hang on a minute, kids. I'm just going to check that the batteries aren't dying on me. If you saw this camera, it's not the best one, but you know, we do the best we can with what we have. So hang out a minute. Let me check. Had me a question, and I didn't want to ask it because it seemed too nosy, but she saw it in my face. Woman knew everything, saw everything. What's the matter? Just wondering what happened before we came. Did you do all this by your own self? No, of course not. Bartlett did some, and I had another girl. Her name was Susie, and she worked with me for almost 2 years. She was very good, but somebody stole her. Stole her? She nodded. It was still slavery times then. Susie was free, and I paid her the same as I'm paying you, but there were bounty hunters, and one day they took her when she was marketing. We never saw her again. Never heard another word from her. Oh my. Yes, it was very sad. I tried to find her, but she had simply vanished. She might have been sold to the cane planters. They just work people to death. We heard about them from Nightjohn. Nightjohn? He was a friend, more than a friend. Made me to read. I told her the story, just a bit of it, how he came to know me. He sounds like a singular man. Didn't know what it meant, but liked the way it sounded. Yes, he was. Very singular. I left then so she could eat her egg before it got cold. Bartlett, he was there waiting for me, holding Tyler too like a package under one arm. Lucy, she was busy cleaning, and Bartlett, he went to the front door. We'll do the marketing now. We need most everything there is to need. Lucky I had those eggs for the trip. There isn't even any salt. I followed him outside and was surprised to find it was mid-morning already. Sun was up, hot, little clouds here and there. Such a bustle in the streets that it made me stare. I thought it had been full of busy people when we came the day before, but it wasn't even close. People were jammed next to each other, and everybody seemed to be yelling and pushing.
Bartlett, he opened the gate and jumped in, dragging me by the hand. And we went along like chips in a river. Another great simile. Most everybody seemed to be selling something. Man with the dancing dog was still there. Man with no legs playing a fiddle on the other side of the street. No count women, some black, some white, all thick with paint, were on balconies calling to men to come up, and weaving through the crowd were beggars and some men so drunk they could hardly walk. Middle of the morning and they were already drunk. In the road there were carriages jammed in with freight wagons all heading down to the river, where I could see 4 big paddle wheel boats that weren't there yesterday. Is it always like this? I asked Bartlett. No, he shook his head and smiled back at me. Sometimes it's worse. Don't worry, you'll get used to it. Heard somebody yell a curse, and then the crowd parted like water around a rock, and 2 men had knives and were going at each other, cutting and stabbing, until one of them got the other one in the stomach, and the wounded man walked away holding himself swearing. The crowd just closed up and kept moving. There was so much happening I couldn't tell where we were going, but before we'd gone too far, we came to a strip of road where there were booths. Had canvas awnings out in front to keep the sun off, and I never saw so much food in my life. Couldn't even find bacon, grease, and cornmeal or other quarters food. It was like there'd never been a war. Bartlett, he jammed through the people and started into buying. Bought rice and beans and a shoulder of pork and all sorts of different vegetables. Each time he'd ask how much it costs, and no matter what the seller told him, he'd shake his head and offer less. Then they'd go back and forth until they worked out a price. And then he'd point to me and tell the seller, "This is Sarny. She'll be doing the buying from now on." They'd nod and he would move on without picking up what he'd bought. "Are we going to take it all on the way back?" I asked. "Oh no, they'll deliver it right to the house. They all know Miss Laura. She pays once a month and never misses. They all love her. All right, now you try." We were at a booth where they sold fish. Turn the page here. Didn't know anything about fish, but I remembered the shrimp from the night before and pointed to a box of them. "I'll be wanting those." "Oh, you will you?" Found myself looking on a man about as big as Nightjohn had been. Carried himself straight up and down, deep black, with a wide smile and eyes that seemed on the edge of laughing. Found myself looking on my next husband, but I didn't know it then. So that's a little bit more than foreshadowing, we'd have to say, that Sarny's telling us at this point, that she's looking at her second husband after Martin. It's wonderful, wonderful for her. Then I just thought he was some city sharper, figured he was going to take a country girl first time she tried buying something, wasn't about to let that happen. "How much do you want?" he asked. "About like this." I made a double heaping handful of them. "How much for this much?" "Be about 30 cents, he said. "Yeah, the money sure has changed a bit, hasn't it?" "Okay." Didn't even know much about money then, but I shook my head. "That's twice too much, and you know it." "Twice? It ain't even enough." "Bring it down, or I'll move on to another booth. There must be somebody else selling shrimp around here." "But if you go, I won't see that fancy smile again." Shining me won't help. Bring the shrimp down. But I could feel myself smiling and cheeks warming up just the same. So you can see that this man is trying to accomplish 2 things at once in this conversation with Sarny. Number one, he wants to get a good price for a shrimp, but also he's kind of flirting with her a little bit, right? Again, it's flirting, social currency. People use it all the time. Flattery makes people feel good, and it's clearly making Sarny feel very good right now. "I will if you tell me your name." "Sarny." Now bring them down." "I'm Stanley," he said, "and I want you to come back to my booth again when we can talk some. Will you do that?" "Not likely. You probably got a bunch of girls come and talk to you." "Not like you, Sarny. Not like you." "Well, I can't stand here and jaw all day long. You send those shrimp to Miss Laura's. Also, send a couple of those fish over there." "Catfish?" I nodded. "And don't be trying to charge an arm and a leg for it. How much is it?" "That would be 20 cents a fish." "Too much." "All right, 15 cents. Never ate on a catfish, but had heard about them from other slaves. I knew you fried them in a pan with bacon grease or lard. We moved on then before Stanley he could get to talking again. That was good, Bartlett said. They always ask about twice as much as they figured to get. So you did good. Tyler, too, he started into fussing, and Bartlett, he stopped at a booth where they had a jar of some kind of sticks with stripes on them. He got 3 of them and gave one to me. You guys know what these are. They look like candy canes, but without the question mark part at the top. They're just straight sticks, and they come in different flavors and colors. They're wonderful, right? We've all had these. Sweeter than honey. What is it? Hard candy? You like it? What symbol? What symbol is Gary Paulson? He's such a wonderful writer, isn't he? How he weaves this in right now is Sarny's. What has she been doing all day, kids? She's been making choices. She's been using her power and her freedom to make choices. And maybe they're simple choices, catfish, shrimp, but they're her choices, and it's the start of her new life. And so yes, the candy, the sweetness of freedom comes back now. I nodded and kept it in my mouth, and from that day on, I had me a piece of hard candy every day. Maybe everybody get some sent back to Miss Laura's, I said, so Lucy, she could taste it too. He smiled and nodded and told the man at the booth to send back a parcel of them, and we went on to finish marketing. So much new happening that my mind was taken up with it, but I still couldn't forget Tyler and little Dealey. The market was filled with children, and every time I saw one about the right size, I would start for him or her, but of course it was never them. Half the day we spent at the market. We must have bought enough food for a whole town. Who's going to eat it all? I asked Bartlett as we started back for the house. Still looking on every small body I saw, still hoping. Oh, don't worry about that. It won't last more than a week. Miss Laura, she has guests most every night, and they always want a dinner. Food don't last long. Must eat like hounds, I thought. Must be some powerful, hungry guests. And that, kids, is the end of chapter 12. So now that was a fun chapter. We got to see a little bit of what Sarny is now doing as a job, and how she's kind of adjusting to this new life of hers. And I think so far things are going really well for her. So that's it for our lesson today. I hope you continue to tune into these lessons. I enjoy doing them. I keep trying to do my best. You love the emails that you guys send me, and some of your parents as well. It's, again, flattery, social currency, makes me feel really good. So kids, once again, I want to remind everybody, be safe, be healthy, tell your parents the